Hey guys, welcome back. In this episode, I want to take a look at an industry that's been heating up in the past few months and that I believe has a huge potential over the next decade. Now, the industry that I'm talking about today is going to be the 3D printing or the additive manufacturing industry. Now, as most of you know, I like to keep up to date with ARK Invest and to see where their investments are. And one of their ETFs has been picking up steam quite recently. Now, I noticed that XOne is ARK Invest's biggest holding in their 3D printing ETF. And after looking into this company and this industry a little more, I think it has a really good opportunity. Now, the concept of rapid prototyping has been giving this industry a lot more attention, along with the ability for 3D printers to be able to create PPE. Now, normally it takes a manufacturer to have to design a layout for a factory to be able to build a specific item. But when you can use a 3D printer, that concept goes out the window. So rapid prototyping has gained a lot of steam recently. Now, the large market opportunity with this industry is that they're shifting away from prototypes and tooling, which is $12 billion and $20 billion respectively, to end-use products, which is around $500 billion. So the use case for the products have shifted away from early adopters with these prototypes to actually being used in parts that make up a myriad of different things. So with that, in this episode, I'm going to be breaking down the 3D printing industry, talk about XOne, and see if it's a good long-term investment or not. So let's first talk about what XOne is and what the company is all about. Now, XOne delivers powerful 3D printers that solve the toughest problems and enable world-changing innovations. For more than 20 years, XOne has been the global leader in industrial 3D printing systems using binder jet technology. Their machines 3D print powder particles, whether that's metal, sand, ceramics, or other materials, into molds, cores, and final end-use parts. In fact, their binder jet 3D printers are among the most researched in the world, cited in more than 95 peer-reviewed technical and scientific articles. Companies in a wide variety of industries use XOne 3D printers, from aerospace to automotive to energy and defense. So what we're looking at right now is one of their 3D printing systems. Their versatile design allows them to handle different materials, build speeds, and throughputs to create a desired product. And using industrial-grade powders, this allows the creation of near-net products, which can essentially be a substitute for other products. Now, they also have 3D printed parts on demand, where metal, sand, and washout tooling parts can be custom printed in just a few weeks depending on the volume of the order. Now, XOne works in a myriad of different industries, and the number of industries that are using 3D printing to create efficiencies in production and workflow is steadily growing. We can see that they have a ton of industries, all the way from aerospace, automotive, decorative art, defense and firearms, and really the list goes on. But some of the ones that really stand out to me is the ones mentioned, as well as oil and gas, and research and development. So now let's take a look at their investor presentation and some of their investment highlights. Now, they're an innovation leader in binding jetting, driving high-quality 3D production. Now, XOne is highlighting all the different key standouts in their business. However, one of the ones that stand out to me is their large market opportunity. Now, it's currently a $12 billion industry with a 20% compound annual growth rate from 2006 all the way to 2019. However, there's currently a market shift from prototypes and tooling, which is $12 billion and $20 billion respectively, to end-use parts, which is $490 billion. So what this translates to is a huge market opportunity, as 3D printing can be used for a much wider scope of different products. Now, they're already the leader in key 3D technology, and they also have a very strong business model. Now, the additive manufacturing industry as a whole is seeing very strong long-term growth. Now, they're forecasting the 3D printing market size and forecast to be growing at 24% from 2014 all the way to 2024. Now, within the additive manufacturing industry, we can see how well binder jet is positioned. They're claiming that this industry is still in its infancy without universal application in key segments. Now, what is binder jetting? Well, it's the fastest form of 3D printing for metal, ceramics, and more. Binder jetting is an additive manufacturing process in which an industrial printhead selectively deposits a liquid binding agent onto a thin layer of powder particles to build a high-value and one-of-a-kind part and tooling. This process is then repeated layer by layer using a map from a digital design file until the object is complete. Now, XOne has a big focus on innovation, as they have a historic number of technology developments, with more than half of their machine lineup now being new. They're continuously launching successful installations of their 3D printers and have announced and launched a whole bunch of other different technologies. Now we can see where XONE stacks up in this competitive landscape within the metal additive manufacturing. Now some of the key standouts is that XONE is a pioneer and global market share leader in high-speed binder jet technology. Their unmatched material flexibility, as they have more than 20 different metals, ceramics, and composites. And they already have successful system installations worldwide. So we talked about their unmatched material flexibility, and that's because they have a highly diversified applications, driven by a range of machine sizes, materials, and services. We can see they have 20 qualified 3D printing powders with sands, ceramics, composites, and 100% metals. But not only that, they also have the ability to do different sizes in build volume. So we can see that they have sizes from small all the way to XXL. What this translates to is a highly diversified portfolio, as we can see that they have machines and services, they have different sizes of the machines, and they have different types of services. On top of that, they have a very broad customer base, so the revenue is very diversified as well. No customer represents more than 10% of the revenue. Now, almost half of XONE's business is in defined industries or sectors that represent less than 1% of total revenue. And while all XONE machines use binder jet technology, the revenue diversity is driven by the wide range of machine sizes, services, and materials. Now, one great thing that reassures me about this business is that they have a growing R&D contract business. And they're seeing higher adoption with commercial and government backlogs. Their government contract backlog is really showing some strength as they have high-value projects with the U.S. Air Force Research Lab, the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, and the U.S. Department of Energy. Now, as someone who's not really that in tune with this technology, I really wanted to see the use case. So we can take a prime example of a case study of Swiss Iron Foundry. Now, they purchased XONE's S-Max Pro, which is a new semi-automated desanding system. It helped the company take full advantage of the recyclability of sand, feeding it directly into a recycling container and reusing between 30 to 50%. They're not producing reliable parts, even with 80% recycled sand. Now, another case study is with lightweighted metal automotive parts. Now, they partnered with Altair, a global automotive manufacturer, and they created a part that was more than 45% lighter, that had fewer manufacturing processes to make, and reduced the amount of welding required to affix the part to the vehicle structure, making it a lot easier for them to assemble the car. So I wanted to talk about ARK Invest and their investment in XONE. Now, ARK has a 3D printing ETF, ticker symbol PRNT. Now, they invest in print because they believe 3D printing is one of the highest growth potential industries in the economy and is set to transform the manufacturing landscape. Now, print's performance in the past year has been pretty impressive as it's up over 100%. From the same time last year of $23 to where it's at right now at $45. Now, the reason I'm talking about this ETF is because their largest holding is in XONE. We can see, taking a look at their largest holdings, XONE is number one with 1.7 million shares with a market value of around 80 million. This translates to a weight of 11%, which is about 5% larger than their next holding. So clearly they have a lot of conviction in XONE and their future growth opportunity. So now that we know about the company, let's dive into the financials. Now, annually, XONE from 2017 to 2019 was doing about 53 to 64 million in sales, with gross margin hovering around 30%. Now, in 2019, they actually took a dip in their sales, which we'll be diving into a bit later. We can also see that machine and recurring revenue are about 50% split of their total revenue. Now, as for the machine unit sales, the numbers are fairly similar to the revenue. Now, from 2017 to 2019, they're doing around 40 to 55, and they also took a dip in 2019 as they saw it dip down from 56 to 44. Now, the good thing to see is that they have a record backlog despite the Rona, and we can see their quarterly backlog is growing pretty healthily. As in September of 2019, they had a backlog of around 26 million. However, in 2020, in that same quarter, they saw about 42 million. They're also managing operating expenses pretty well, as in the past 3 years, we've actually seen a decrease in their annual operating expenses. Now, as for the balance sheet, they're seeing pretty healthy growth for their capital resources. In 2019, they had total liquidity of around $20 million. In June of 2020, that number was around 30 million. And in the last quarter, their total liquidity was 50 million. So they definitely have enough cash on the balance sheet to maintain adequate liquidity and to be able to further fund their growth plans. So to sum up 2020 for XOne, the new machine lineup positions XOne to respond to diversity of industries, applications, and customer needs. They're continuously delivering their existing products. However, they're also producing newer additions to the lineup, with deliveries expected to begin soon. They're really focusing on the recurring revenue part of their business, as well as government R&D and adoption projects, allowing for a very diversified portfolio to help them navigate this uncertain environment. Lastly, they maintain a proactive stance, adjusting their business to latest conditions, while also increasing their focus on a long-term strategy. Okay, and with that, I wanted to talk about the third quarter 2020 financial results, which was their most recent quarterly earnings. They delivered a total revenue of $17.4 million, reflecting a year-on-year growth of 60%, while achieving yet another quarter of record backlog. Their system sales more than doubled sequentially to $10.5 million. They also grew their strong backlog to $42.6 million, which is a new record level. Now, they successfully installed multiple machines and have a customer expanding into multi-site production operations. Meanwhile, the new XOne 160 Pro, their 10th and largest metal binder jet system, will be shipping soon with initial revenues anticipated to be recognized in the first half of 2021. They also announced a new advanced entry-level metal 3D printer, which is a major upgrade to their existing one, which is the world's best-selling metal binder jetting system today. Now, with their impact, they're not just selling machines, they're delivering a complete factory floor solution. At the end of the day, binder jetting is still new to most manufacturers, so they really value our insights and they are still gravitating towards us because of them. We touched on earlier that they're also landing big contracts, and they have a new contract with the U.S. Air Force Research Lab for binder jetting a novel, high-strength steel alloy. They believe this will help transform the face of metal manufacturing, make it faster, smarter, and more sustainable. They believe that their binder jet 3D printing solutions will play a critical role in the transformation of traditional manufacturing to a more innovative, sustainable, and decentralized manufacturing model. They're confident that they're going to remain the market leader by continuing to innovate, advancing machines and material technology, and partnering with customers and other companies who help them deliver on their mission of sustainable manufacturing without limitations. So with that, let's talk about XOne and their valuation. Now, XOne at the time of this recording is currently at $39, with a market cap of $877 million. So this company is still a very small cap company. With it sitting under $1 billion, it definitely does have a lot of opportunity ahead of it. Taking a look at their statistics, their price to sales is 11, with their price to book being 12. So zooming in a bit at the year-to-date chart, we can see that at the very start of the year, XOne was only trading around $9. And in the past month or so, it's seen an amazing run all the way to a high on February 9th of $64. And from the all-time high to where it's at right now, that's a 38% drop. So for those of you who are looking into this company, are excited for its long-term future, and looking to build a position, I think within the next week, we could see the stock stabilize, and I think it could be a really good point to build a position. Now I'm going to dive into this just a little deeper, take a look on TradingView, and do some more deeper technical analysis. Even where it's trading at right now, it was at that point just on February 5th. Now, I don't like to try to time the bottom of a dip and to buy into a falling knife. So I think it's important to kind of wait for the price to bottom out before buying into it. Now, I would love to see the stock start stabilizing around 36. And once it has a bottom, I believe it could be a really good time to build a position in the stock. Okay, and as for risk factors, I'm looking at their 10K right now, which is their annual report, where they list out some of the potential risk factors that they see affecting their business. They might not be able to consistently generate operating profits. Since their inception, they have not consistently generated operating profits and may be unable to consistently generate operating profits in the future. They're saying that they believe their operating expenses may increase in the future periods as they pursue growth strategies. I'm personally okay with that, and I would like to see them invest back into the company. Next, they say that the revenues and operating results may fluctuate. due to a variety of different factors. One of the key standouts is that their machine orders are often subject to the adoption and capital expenditures cycles of their customers. Thus, revenues and operating results for any future period are not predictable with any significant degree of certainty. They're also saying that customer demand for certain qualities and capabilities in their machines are constantly evolving, and they might not be able to respond to customer demand as quickly and as better capitalized competitor may be able to respond. They also face significant competition in many aspects of their business, which could cause revenues and gross profit to decline. Competition could also be a factor which caused them to reduce sales prices or to incur additional marketing or production costs, which could result in decreased revenue, increased costs, and reduced margins. Now, the list really goes on. For example, they're saying that they may not be able to retain or hire number of skilled employees. However, these are really just general and administrative different risks. So the ones I listed earlier are the biggest ones to worry about. So that was my breakdown of the 3D printing industry as well as ExOne. Now, similar to my episode on precision biosciences, where I broke down genomics, I'm no means an expert in this field, and this is all very new to me. However, I think it's really important to get outside of your circle of competence and start learning other industries that have a good long-term potential. I believe that it's pretty clear to see that there's a huge demand for this industry and that has a huge potential over the next decade. Now, I really like the fact that the market is shifting away from just prototypes and tooling to end-use parts, which has a huge total addressable market. Now, ExOne is definitely more of a risky play. However, I think the risk to reward is definitely in our favor. With ExOne sitting under a $1 billion market cap and this industry expected to grow around 20% over the next 5 years, I think it's a really good chance for us to get a company that's still in its early stages, but still has the opportunity to continuously grow and be a multi-bagger. So what am I going to do? Well, I plan on building positions sometime soon. However, I want to see where this stock trades over the next few weeks or so. It's been selling off pretty hard from its all-time high, so I want to see some stability before I start entering a position. With that, guys, thanks as always for sticking around. I really appreciate all the support. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this company, this industry, as well as the stock. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and let's go get that bag.